Facebook sucks right now. Amazon, Google, Uber, Reddit, every big tech company is changing drastically right in front of our eyes. And I think it's even worse than you realize. I think they're suffering from enshittification, which Cory Doctorow described as a pattern in which online products and services decline in quality. You see, initially vendors create high-quality offerings to attract new users. Then they degrade those offerings to better serve business customers. And then finally, they degrade their services to both users and to business customers to maximize the profits for shareholders. When any of these companies first started, they were a nobody, which means they had to go above and beyond to solve a key problem and pick up some market share and make their brand become known to the whole world or the whole industry. Let's take Amazon, for example. Before Amazon, it was completely normal to order a package and then wait 1 to 2 weeks for it to arrive. We thought nothing of it. But then, in 2005, a former book retailer, yes, if you didn't know, Amazon started out as a freaking online bookstore. They came out with 2-day shipping. The whole world was in shock. This was completely mental. And they were barely even profitable at this time. They had been unprofitable for 14 years, which is probably some sort of record. Before then, it was completely unheard of for a company to stay in business this long while being completely unprofitable. With this new business model, people were flocking to become Prime members. Everything was cheap on Amazon. Prime was cheap. And you could order just about anything you want and have it show up on your doorstep in the next couple days. Now that they've reached market saturation, Prime is getting more expensive. The products are getting more expensive. You used to be able to rely on the fact that if you bought something off of Amazon, you were probably getting the cheapest price around, the cheapest price anywhere on the internet at least. These days you'll actually pay a premium for that privilege, all while getting a lower quality product with the influx of cheap Chinese goods with thousands of fake 5-star reviews from bot farms. Another great example is Uber. When Uber first came out, it was 30 to 50% the price of traditional taxis. So it's no surprise how popular they quickly became. Why would you ever take a yellow cab when you could call up an Uber for half the price? It feels like it only took them a year to go from just vaporware to a household name. But once they cornered the market, things started to drastically change. Since they were now in control of the demand, they had to take control of the supply. So they turned their focus to the drivers. The drivers will have to stay where their customers are. They started sweetening the deal with offers like cash back on fuel, sign-on bonuses for new joiners, and even discounts to maintenance on their cars. They paid their drivers 80% of what the app makes, all while hemorrhaging money as a company. Then they introduced surge pricing. When there's way more demand for rides than there is supply of drivers, the drivers can make 2, 3, or even 4 times on a ride. Just the other day, my car was broken down and in the shop, so I tried to Uber to the office during rush hour. Joke's on me, my ride was quoted at over $250, one way, before tip. I almost fell out of my chair. With a large group of people needing to go to work all at the same time, the only way to get a ride is to outpay all of those people. And people are willing to pay a lot of money to not miss work. Now there's a third and final phase of their evil plan. What does Uber do now that they've cornered both the riders and the drivers? This is when the true enshittification really kicks in. They gave their users a surplus at the beginning to make their app essential. And then they shifted to giving the suppliers the surplus to give them all into their ecosystem. And finally build a monopoly. Now, in the end game, this is where Uber and other big tech companies start to really take the surplus all to themselves. This is usually around the time when the company becomes public. And instead of following the dreams of their passionate founders, they start making money. And they need to make a lot of money for the thousands of faceless owners who now control the company. As with all industries, the shareholders don't really care about the long-term investments and the long-term outlook. They want immediate value. They want immediate cash flow. And at this point, a business will start to find the absolute maximum that customers are willing to spend, in the bare minimum that they can get away with paying the suppliers. And then they pocket the difference. They keep it all to themselves. One of the ways they do this is by creating a tier system. Now, this sounds great in theory. But for example, Uber has UberX, Uber Priority, Uber Comfort, Uber Green, Uber Black, Black SUV, Exec, and even Luxury or Lux or something, with only the highest end luxury cars. Now that they have all these tiers, What happens when you try to order a regular Uber ride? Well, you get extremely long wait times. You get all the drivers that don't qualify for the higher end services, and the cars that don't count as new enough for comfort. And this idea of splitting up their whole service into different tiers isn't inherently bad, it's not inherently evil. It's actually very practical in theory, but the way they implement it only makes it worse for the drivers and the riders. Now, Uber isn't changing what cars are actually on the road to accommodate this change to a new tier system. It's the same drivers with the same cars and the same driving abilities. Now they're just segregating them so that each user pays the absolute maximum they're willing to pay, and the service provided is the bare minimum for that price. Or if you look at Netflix, when they first started offering streaming services, it was absolutely revolutionary. When it first came out, it was about $7.99 a month, which was about the price of a single movie ticket. So you could pay for it, and as long as you watch more than one movie a month, in the comfort of your own home, may I add, it was an absolute bargain. And it was all ad-free. You can't even get that in theaters. They make you watch a bunch of trailers before you get in to watch the movie. Then once they got everyone hooked, they decided, let's introduce some tiers. I bet you can guess where this is going. If you want to watch videos in 4K and use more than 2 devices simultaneously, you have to pay a whopping $22.99 a month. Now suppose you just live by yourself and you don't need to pay the extra members and stuff. You don't really care about the 4K either. Well, they went a step further and they added ads to their standard tier. So now you have to pay $15.49 a month for 1080p just to not have to watch ads. And Netflix isn't even the worst offender here. They at least charge less money for their tier with ads. Amazon, they just went ahead and add ads to the standard tier, so you can't even avoid them at all. You're just stuck with ads no matter what you want to do, unless you buy the show or movie outright, which, like, who's going to do that? That goes against the whole point in streaming. In both of these examples, you can see how tiering isn't being used to offer you a better experience. It's designed to make you pay the maximum amount of money you're willing to pay for the minimum experience you're willing to pay for. Now, this leads me to subscriptions in general. They can be totally fine. They can be kind of like a lease where instead of paying a large upfront sum for a good or service, you're paying smaller amounts monthly over a period of time while having full access to the full extent of the good or service. You know, the same way as if you purchased it outright from the start. It can also be a way to force companies to continue to provide more and more value over time because you can just leave if you no longer feel like you're gaining any value from it and if you get bored. But the way companies are using them now, you aren't avoiding paying that large upfront cost. You're kind of paying them both. You're getting the worst of both worlds. You're getting a worse service while paying for a subscription than you were when it was free. Like if we go back to the Amazon example, the entire original purpose of Amazon Prime was unlimited 2-day deliveries. Then they came out with even faster 1-day or same-day deliveries for certain cities. But now, you're required to pay extra to get the fastest tier delivery, or at the minimum, spend at least $25 on eligible items to qualify. Now that most companies are offering free standard delivery, with Amazon you're actually paying a monthly fee for that perk. Uber rides have gone from half the price of a standard taxi ride to 2 or 3 or even 4 times the price of calling up a cab company and pre-booking a ride. And this is while paying for the standard ride, the standard driver who has the minimum amount of driving experience, not like a professional driver like a taxi company, and the bare minimum car. Who knows if they've even done all their maintenance and if the car's even safe to ride in. And Uber doesn't even tell you when you're paying a surge price anymore. You just kind of pay it. And this causes you to completely lose your reference point and just get used to this as a new normal, a new higher pricing floor, if you will. Now, of course, they even created a freaking subscription service to come and save the day. For $9.99 a month or $99.99 a year, you can get a discount of up to 10% on deliveries and 6% on eligible rides. Also, what on earth does a 6% discount mean anyway? They don't even give you an itemized list of the cost anymore. Like, the prices are just completely made up. So a 6% discount on a made up price is a made up price. How do I even know they aren't raising their prices 6% just to make me sign up for the subscription? It's kind of like when you go to a grocery store, like, oh great, this box of cereal is $2 off. I'm saving so much money. I'm sure they totally didn't just mark up the normal price by $2 to kind of offer this fabricated value. Like, this company has managed to start milking a monthly fee of you, all while charging you substantially more than they did before there was a monthly fee at all. Once companies like Amazon, Uber, and Netflix reach saturation, they're able to squeeze the market and extract every penny that they possibly can. Anyways, if you enjoyed my rant, I, unlike these tech companies, will not charge you a monthly fee for my subscription. But instead, I'll give you free videos, so I would greatly appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, maybe even leave a comment below. And that'll help me provide more content like this in the future so I can keep torturing you. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.